The Jim and Terry Show, still at it. The coffee's gone stale. Your tears have colored the coffee flavor.
My whiskey tears are gone.
And here we are still chatting because there's so much to cover. I found something exciting. We don't cover SpaceX anymore, but I got excited when I heard the angry astronaut talk about Artemis.
Artemis.
And we were poo-pooing Artemis back years ago because we didn't think they were keeping up with SpaceX. SpaceX was coming out of the gate.
But what happened to SpaceX, Terry?
Well,
it kind of got involved in Trump. And then all of a sudden he got distracted, didn't he, Terry? And then rockets were starting to blow up, and shares in Tesla was going down, and on and on and on it goes because everything he touches dies.
Is that Trump or is that Musk,
Trump.
getting involved in stuff that
well, that's what I meant.
A distracted CEO is never a good thing for a corporation.
Well, why did he get involved? Why is he so mad? Because he was promised stuff by Trump, and bad stuff, like stuff over everybody else.
What was he promised? I'm not sure.
Military this and that. And it
you
was
mean
also,
contracts for the satellites and Falcon?
They were going to really promote the electric car. And then he did the reverse.
That's
what got Musk mad.
Well, remember Trump said at a speech, I believe it was in Mar-a-Lago, to oil executives, give me $1 billion and I will make sure we drill.
Yeah. Drill, baby, drill.
And I guess they did.
Yeah.
So Musk bought an election for $240 million or whatever the amount was that he donated to the GOP to elect Donald Trump. Does some things that, I say are contentious, but if you're a conservative, you'd say, oh, yeah, government fat, cut off the fat, make a lean government. Unfortunately, when you do that and you don't have standards by which you're judging what fat to cut, you just, as you often point out, just fired a whole bunch of people who were nearly there for pensioners. You could have done it through attrition. You could have just waited it out for a year or two, let people retire out and cut what you believe is fat and excess that way, which is compassionate and caring, instead of what Trump does, which is fire the FBI director when he's 2 months short of retiring anyway and stop his pension because you're a mean-spirited SOB.
Well, who did they just fire? Who was actually responsible for putting the Epstein file, his lady in jail?
Yes.
They fired her. Isn't that coincidentally? Just fired now because she would have the dirt. I'm sorry. What a corrupt.
She got a conviction. Remember that Ghislaine Maxwell is convicted by a court of her peers and sentenced according to the sentencing protocols of the Department of Justice. Yeah. This was prosecuted in the state of New York. Yeah. They got him.
Yeah.
And she is gone behind bars. Now we don't know how far gone.
And now she's fearful for her life.
Fearful? Oh, well, somebody said this. I don't know whether you know the story of Ivana's passing.
Who?
Ivana Trump.
Oh, yeah. Well,
was she pushed down the stairs or just wound up at the bottom?
Well, let's see how much respect was probably for her. She was buried on his golf course, and it's overgrown.
Yes, an unmarked grave.
It's unmarked grave. So there was something wrong there, wasn't there? So.
Well, we have our suspicions. We have no evidence at this point, but I would like to take a shovel and go dig for some evidence.
Yeah, well, what can I say? And maybe not. Yeah. Maybe it was just a little stumble down a stair that caused that.
Yes, apparently Ghislaine Maxwell might be afraid of stairs now. This almost sounds like Russian conspiracy stuff.
Well, it's going to get, if it's left to be, it will.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be, Trump's going to be outed, she's probably going to die.
Yeah. So to get back to our beginning, Musk and Trump, and we talked about the aspirations, and I mentioned the angry astronaut who we follow, and the Artemis program, which looks like 4 astronauts going around the moon, a circumlunar orbit, and returning as a precursor to, if all goes well, landing. But SpaceX is not in the discussion, not mentioned.
Yeah, that's, I think they'll catch up. I think SpaceX is advanced. They're just trying to put something way more complicated together
than a simple capsule going around.
Yeah. And I mean, we got to do more than a stupid capsule landing and someone step out there for a half a day. We've got to do way more than that, or don't bother going back. We already know what the moon's composed of. So don't do that. And if it's going to cost you hundreds of billions of dollars to do it when China can do it for 15 cents, let China do it then. Let them lead the way. Let them land on it. Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
It's a cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to anybody. It's
Yeah.
got no, well, it does have an American flag flying on it, but that's not a claim to territory. Other things that are interesting in the news. I was going to mention Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, sad. For some people, very, very sad. I never followed him. I don't know if I've ever listened to one of his songs through. But some were quite famous back when heavy metal was first coming out.
Yes.
And it touched a lot of people. I saw a radio broadcaster, a podcaster, looked really quite broken up over it all. Has all of his albums.
Really,
and
the whole
apparently
collection.
he's just a really beloved man, even though he's playing the Prince of Darkness, you know.
Now, I don't know the circumstances of his passing, so I had heard rumors of some form of dementia, Alzheimer's or something, and that there's a possibility of it being an assisted exit. Is that possible?
I guess that's totally possible. In this day and age, you can do that. I know my pastor was involved, went over and tried to talk someone out of it, but he didn't, and the person continued on. And maybe rightfully so, I don't know. He was in
we don't know
great
the
pain.
conditions that everybody
he was
is
in great
suffering
pain.
from.
And thank goodness, his wife attends the church now to this day, which is great and wonderful person. I wish I had got to know him. I didn't have a clue who he was.
Right.
But
Ozzy Osbourne, into the great unknown.
well, I think Billy Joel now is retired because he's got like water on the brain,
Oh,
something
okay.
like that.
Yeah,
And,
hydrocephalus.
yeah, he was kind of tippy. I think he's tippy.
Yeah.
He looked absolutely phenomenal in the interview. He looked great. I think there's a documentary out about him,
Okay.
and but he was saying, he thought at first maybe it was drinking too much, and he said, but it's not that. Okay. And he doesn't do that anymore, apparently, but he did at one time. He said like a fish.
I'm going to lead this one off on a tangent, and you can follow or offer whatever you're thinking. I had a conversation with a local farmer in the Beaverton area on the Pier. And I didn't know whether I was under the influence of the sun, and maybe I wasn't thinking clearly, but I heard lots of claims of things that I'd never heard before. And I'll pass these by you. I know it's going to be a little bit of a conspiracy theory rabbit hole that we'll go down. But, I mean, the guy was sincere, and he was, sharing this stuff. And once he knew I was a history teacher, he said, okay, well, you should know this stuff. And some of the stuff I'd never heard of. Well, let's start with one of them, which is that his claim was that his family is related to one of the two people from the William Lyon Mackenzie 1837 rebellion at the tavern. I'm going to say it was in the Newmarket, North Toronto area. And it was squashed, and the relative was hung, one of two. And he mentioned the name, and I'd never recalled reading the name. I know about the rebellion, but I don't know about his personal family story of tragedy. But he said he was at a restaurant, and there was a picture of the hanging. I thought they did photographs of hanging back in the
I can believe
day.
that, sure.
So, yeah.
Didn't they get their picnic baskets and everything and go to the hanging?
And that's what this apparently depicted.
Jeepers.
So I thought, wow. So I'm talking to someone whose family was really involved in this up close and personal, and there's a picture to preserve it. So he can prove his lineage. Apparently, he's got genealogy that he can prove that he's...
I just find it weird you found a farmer on a pier. I got to write a song about this.
Well, that's just the beginning of the conspiracy theories. That was true, and you can measure that through genealogies and newspaper files, and you can say, yeah, well, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing, which I did say. But then it got into Avro Arrow territory. Did you know that there was a hijacked plane in BC last week?
Yes, I did. I saw that.
Did you know that there were U.S. fighter jets scrambled?
Okay.
Interesting.
Can't we scramble our own?
That was the question, and he asked me the same thing, and he said, did you know that under the air base in Comox, BC, a Canadian Air Force base, down in the bowels of the base, are two Avro arrows, and that on the night of that hijacking, they were scrambled. So how they got up there, he said he has witnessed, somebody witnessed and shared it with him that there were no lights on.
AI, Terry.
There was
AI.
no runway lights. There were no lights on the planes, and they screamed like a bat out of hell. these Avro arrows, 2 of them,
Why would
to
they?
intercept. And that not only that, they were followed by Canadian Air Force's tankers to keep those planes fueled and circling for 6 hours.
I didn't see that on TV.
I'm waiting for the show.
I didn't see that on TV.
No.
There may be AI involved. There may be a little bit not really
It
happening.
sounded interesting.
Well, it is interesting.
And kind of believable. We all hope the Avro arrow lives
I
somewhere.
I would love it to live, but the
Yeah.
technology is old now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
And
the highest. I mean, it's a sad that Canada would have been the leader in military hardware by now.
who would know conspiracy theories on a pier in Beaverton, Ontario
Well, that's what I say.
was a thing?
Ran into a farmer walking on the pier.
Sing it, Jim. Sing it. As we fade into the sunset. The Jim and Terry Show signing off. Bye-bye.
Sweat of my brow and the toil of my hands has got me so far into this promised land.